Only I know what I've been through. A story by Marcus Smart. Have you ever walked through life with a smile, while your heart carried a weight no one else could see? Hi, I'm Marcus Smart, and this is not just a story. It's a quiet truth I've carried for years. Maybe you've carried yours too. I didn't grow up without parents. I had them, both of them. But love alone doesn't pay the bills. We lived modestly too modest, sometimes. The kind of household where no wasn't punishment, it was just the default. No, we can't afford it. No, not this year. No, maybe next time. From a young age, I learned not to ask for too much. My parents worked hard. They gave what they could. But the truth is, I grew up knowing that if I wanted more, I'd have to be the one to find it. No college fund, no safety net, no one to bail me out when life hit hard. I don't blame them. They did what they could. But it meant I started carrying the weight of survival long before I was ready. By the time I was 15, I was tutoring younger kids after school to pay for my own clothes. By 18, I was working evenings and weekends. I didn't go to parties. I didn't go on trips. I went to work. Because somewhere deep down, I believed that if I could just keep moving forward, I could outrun the feeling of never enough. Made it into college barely, and paid my way through with a patchwork of part-time jobs, scholarships, and pure exhaustion. No one sent care packages. No one wired money. I was my own lifeline. People thought I was doing well, that I was independent, ambitious. But I wasn't proud. I was just tired and scared. Because beneath it all, I knew one thing for sure. If I fell, there was no one waiting to catch me. And as I got older, the weight didn't ease, it changed. I started feeling guilty every time I bought something for myself. A pair of shoes, a meal out. Because I knew my parents were still struggling, that they'd never retire. That maybe, just maybe, I was their retirement plan. Suddenly, it wasn't just about my future anymore. It was about theirs too. And let me tell you, it's a strange kind of pressure. You want to give your parents the world, but you barely have enough to keep your own lights on. You love them deeply, but some nights, that love feels like a chain pulling you under. So what did I do? I kept moving. I pushed harder. Started my own business in my late 20s. It was everything I had. My energy, my savings, my hope. But the world doesn't always reward effort. Within a few years, it all crumbled. Bad timing, bad partnerships, and worse luck. I lost almost everything. I remember the day I had to explain to my mother that I couldn't send her money that month. I felt like I had failed not just myself, but her. That was the night I sat alone in the dark and whispered something I'd never said out loud before. No one understands what this really costs me. Because you see, when you've had to carry your own dreams and your parents' survival, your failures don't just feel personal. They feel unforgivable. But here's the thing I've learned, and maybe you need to hear this too. Your pain is real, even if no one claps for how hard you've tried. Your journey is valid, even if you have nothing to show for it yet. And most importantly, you don't owe anyone an explanation for the weight you carry in silence. I used to wish someone would come and save me. Now, I just wish more people would see me. Not the polished version, not the smile I wear to look okay, but the man who's done his best every single day, even when no one was watching. So if that's you too, if you've carried more than your share and felt invisible doing it, I want to say this. You are not weak. You are not behind. You are human. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough for today. I thought that once I graduated and entered adulthood, life would naturally sort itself out. But no one warned me that adulthood isn't a destination. It's a test. My parents weren't well off. They didn't have savings to support me, no inheritance, no connections. But they gave me something even more valuable, the example of sacrifice and responsibility. Still, stepping out into the world with empty pockets, I had to learn to survive on my own. I worked whatever jobs I could find. I ate cheap food. I skipped nights out, and slowly I started building. Not a fortune, but grit. There were times I blamed my parents in my head. Why wasn't I born into a wealthier family? Why didn't they prepare more for my future? But those thoughts faded when I saw them age, still working, still worrying. For me, that's when I realized they gave me everything they could. And then some. So I stepped up. I worked harder. I helped pay the bills. I said no to vacations so they could afford medicine. I postponed my dreams so they could live without fear. Responsibility changes a man. It sharpens you. It wears you down, but it also gives your pain a name, purpose. I didn't buy fancy clothes. I didn't climb the corporate ladder fast. But I earned something more lasting. The look in my parents' eyes that said, "You make us proud." Still, as the years passed, I began to feel a quiet ache. Something I didn't want to admit out loud, that somewhere along the way, I lost myself. Had lived so long trying to be enough for others, that I forgot to ask what I needed for me. It's okay not to be successful, as long as you become someone of character. I don't remember the exact moment I slipped into the fog. I just remember things started to blur. Not my vision, but my mind. I worked like a machine. No excitement. No resistance. Each morning I woke up without a reason to get out of bed. I stopped smiling at anyone for more than 3 seconds. Nothing felt worth trying for anymore. There was only one clear feeling left. I'm alive, but I don't feel like I belong to this life. I once read something that said, people don't die from being broke. They die from feeling unnecessary. And slowly I began to understand I had saved. I had done everything right. No reckless choices. No big failures. But I had forgotten one thing. I never asked myself if I was living true to who I really am. So I started not something big. I just sat down with myself. One evening, I turned off the lights, no music, no phone. And I asked myself, if no one expected anything from me anymore, what would I do? The first answer was vague. But a few days later, I remembered I used to love writing. Not for fame, just because I liked it. So I started writing again, just 30 minutes every night. I posted little reflections online. No one read them. But I felt real. For the first time in years, I felt like I was living, not just existing. Then, I learned to accept the things I didn't have, and to be grateful for the things I still did. A mind that hadn't collapsed, a heart that could still feel, and a small, quiet ability to fall back in love with life. I didn't become rich. I didn't catch up to my peers. But I learned to walk through each day without feeling like I was borrowing someone else's body. I learned to place my hand on my chest and ask, was I kind to myself today? I started living more gently, no longer comparing, no longer hurting from unmet expectations. I chose to live simply and truthfully. People say, getting old is scary. I don't think so. Getting older, if you live it right, is a privilege. Because only when you've walked past everything unnecessary do you finally see what's truly valuable. If you've stayed with me this far, maybe you felt it too. That lost feeling, that exhaustion, that fog where every path feels unclear. I don't have all the answers. But I do know this. No one else can live your life for you. No one knows you better than you do. And no one can save you, except you. Life doesn't always need to be successful by society's standards. If you still have a heart soft enough to feel and a will strong enough to keep walking, then you have enough. This is Marcus Smart, and I'm still living. Not to prove anything, just to be who I really am.